Well, obviously, the president was ticked off. I mean, he was seriously mad. At some point, you could hear his voice cracking. And part of the reason he was mad is because of the leap that politicians and the media make to actually put him in some way being responsible for what happened. If not him personally, at least people in his administration. The Democratic leadership today sent a letter. Again, we discussed it earlier, but I'm going to read it again. In the wake of deadly hate crimes and violence committed by white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia, we write to request the immediate removal of Steve Bannon, Steve Miller, Sebastian Gorka from any positions in the White House. The clear implication of this is that these gentlemen are white supremacists. But this letter doesn't even have the guts to say that. It's pure McCarthyism. It is guilt by insinuation.
Absolutely. And there's no question what they are accusing him of. They are accusing him of being a racist or having racists on his staff. And God bless him. He's not going to take that lying down. It offends him, as it should offend him. It would offend me if somebody called me a racist. And he goes back after him. And I love it. And my favorite question of the entire press conference, it wasn't a question asked by anybody in the press. It was a question asked by Donald Trump, who looked at the press and said, tell me what is alt-right. What is this made-up word, this word you all have made up? Alt-right. If you're talking about racists, let's call them racists. If you're talking about something else, then let's find out what alt-right means. I have no idea what it means.
I'll tell you what it means. What it means is it is a creation of the media essentially to put an umbrella over everybody, which would include racists with the people in the White House. It's a mechanism by which they're able to call people who are not white supremacists or racists exactly that. It's just it's a sort of short word for racism.
Absolutely, and it's all designed so that they can get away with smearing the president with being a racist when he is not a racist, and nor is Steve Bannon a racist. But they can use that little word and sneak around and get the stink on them anyway. And it's despicable. It's destructive to this country, and I think that it sets back race relations in this country decades.
Well, it sets the country back. I thought we had gotten beyond McCarthyism, where you have guilt by association or insinuation. By the way, the president did mention the mother of the woman who was killed on Saturday and saying, he didn't quote the letter, but I'm going to do that right now, that the mother sent to the president. Thank you, President Trump, for those words of comfort and for denouncing those who promote violence and hatred. Now, she was speaking of what he said yesterday, something that was completely condemned by the Democrats and the media as being insensitive. The mother of the woman killed thought it was very sensitive.
Yeah, and that's the saddest part of all of this, David, is that obviously there were some good people on the side of that wanted to take the statues down. I wasn't there, I don't know, but maybe there were some good people there trying to stand up for the statue. Goodness knows there are millions of Americans who support keeping these statues who are very good people and nowhere near a racist. I'm one of them. But the sad thing here is that a good person who wasn't part of the bad mayhem got killed, and I can't imagine anybody pointing to anything from the weekend that would suggest that it was worth her life. And it is so incalculably sad.
Her mother knows the depths of the sadness of losing a daughter more than anybody in the world, and for her to thank the president for what he said is enough for me. I just have to say one final comment, Charlie. I want you to comment on it as well. I think the country has advanced so far beyond the race baiting that we are seeing in the press, the race baiting that we are seeing from Democrats in Congress. Just about every family in America has some connection in their family. People marrying African Americans, people marrying Asians, people marrying Latin Americans, people marrying people from all race, creeds, and colors. And we have moved as a nation, as individuals, as families, so far beyond the people who turn this into politics. It makes me sick to see them trying to drag us back into where we were, where everybody was based by their color or creed.
And thank you for saying that, because I mean, I couldn't agree more. We have moved 1,000,000 miles down the road, and the only people that are still trying to jazz this up and razz this up are politicians, and they're doing it because it serves their purpose to divide people, and as long as they can goose this thing, they can sort of color coordinate their voters, and they can appeal to certain voters, and it's the most despicable thing. It's in a lot of ways it's almost worse than racism, because first of all it's racist to begin with, but beyond that they're using it for their own personal political advantage, and it really is despicable.